Alright guys, if you've been on one of my live trainings before, I usually start about 5 after just to get everybody in here. So if you have time, go ahead and grab something to drink, get a pen and piece of paper, and type in the chat here your name, where you're from, and your LinkedIn profile link so I can connect with you. If you've been on one of my live trainings before, I usually start about 5 after just to get everybody in here. So if you have time, during the training, if you have any questions, feel free to just pop them right in the chat as well, and I will go back around to address them. Alright guys, we're going to get started. Give me 2 seconds here to pull up the actual training so I can watch these live comments. You might not have any comments, and that's okay. Okay. So please, in the chat, if you want to, you can put your name, where you're from, and your LinkedIn profile link. And let's just get started. Let me just put a little disclaimer here that as soon as I sent out my email this morning, if you guys are on my email list, my teacher or my nurse from my son's school called, and he just came home with 101 fever. So he's in bed. He's totally taken care of and just wants to chill out, which I don't blame the little guy. But what I do hope is that it doesn't come to me next or anyone else in our family. So today we are talking about how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. You guys are in the right place if you want to use LinkedIn to develop your client base. If you have a LinkedIn profile but you're just not sure how to make it awesome, and you want to do everything you can to grow your social presence on LinkedIn. Is LinkedIn a platform that you are currently using? Is it something that you feel like you definitely need to grow? Write in the comments, let me know. Or write in the chat, not comments. My promise to you guys over the next sort of time, I don't know how long this will be, is some free content. I'm going to make it worth your time. You're going to walk away with some actionable tips, and stick around, I got a bonus for those who take action now. Your promise to me, shut down those extra tabs. Stop looking at your email and write down some extra questions for me to answer for you guys at the end. I'll do my best. I always start my webinars because I know there's a lot of people that haven't heard of us, me. I always say us. This is something that I was on a podcast for yesterday, and I keep saying us. It's really me, just Janine here. So I would like to tell you about myself so you get to know who I am. So in 2012, I had my second baby, who just came home with the fever, and I knew that I needed a second job. I was working a lot at the hospital, and I was getting burnt out, and I ended up doing an extra job on the side, thinking that that might help, and it did a little bit. I mean, doing something on the side always makes your brain little less overwhelmed because you're not constantly doing the same thing and getting burned out at the same thing. But I soon stopped doing that. I mean, I did it for a little while, but it was a home care job in the inner city of Cleveland, and it was getting really dangerous. So in 2013, I started writing for pennies on Fiverr.com. If you've ever been to Fiverr, it's just a little gig website that has $5 gigs. And I thought it was awesome because I was making some extra money, but nobody knew what I was doing. In 2014, I started gaining a few clients. I started, with my business name. I started joining a group of just regular freelance writers. I finally told my husband I was making, hundreds extra a month or so. In 2015, 2016, I started my business for real. I got my LLC at writern.net. If you haven't been to my website, it has a blog about different freelance things. And I launched and made $15,000 working like 4 hours a day on my days off, not including my weekends. And that year I also met my business BFF, Carol Bush, and we were ready to expand both of our businesses. In 2017, the Healthcare Marketing Network was born, and that was a network that we had over 1,000 healthcare writers in there, but it started taking a pivot towards an area that really none of us were interested in going. So I also that year wrote my first book, Entrepreneurs, and it talks about different careers that nurses can do on the side. And I also coached freelancers. So nurses that wanted to become, and healthcare writers that wanted to become like known and start their own businesses. I started doing that like one-on-one. And then I joined a mastermind group out of the Healthcare Marketing Network, just some friends of mine, and it was really fun. In 2018, I had thoughts of expanding some more. I wasn't happy just with the Healthcare Marketing Network. I knew I had to do something else with my business. So 2019, I totally made a pivot. We started, and this wasn't we. It was me and Carol Bush and Janet Kennedy. We started the Savvy Scribe podcast. If you go way back in the archives, you'll hear the first episodes were with all of us. We're talking on them. So over time, it's not because things fell apart, but personal reasons. Carol and Janet both had to take on some JOBs, some real jobs. And I stuck around. I stuck around with the Savvy Scribe podcast, and I'm really excited with what we're doing, and I couldn't let it go. So this past summer, we did the Savvy Scribe Growth Lab, and it was a group of people that joined in on Facebook, and we have live trainings. And I need to drink water. And it was kind of like this. I would do these live trainings, and then we'd have the accountability, and we'd have homework and stuff. Well, I was still getting a ton of emails, still doing some one-on-one coaching. And so for this year, I decided I want to make a course with all these questions that people ask me and really just put it all together for people. So that's what I did. And then this year, I've already interviewed probably 20 people for the podcast. I'm obviously still looking for more guests and more opportunities to connect writers with clients and clients with writers. So let's jump into the content, shall we? Why LinkedIn? LinkedIn is a platform that everyone who has a business should be a part of. If you connect with the network on LinkedIn, you're going to talk to people that are thought leaders with like-minded specialty interests. It helps elevate one another and see what the latest trends are within your industry. So we'd like to start with the basics of your LinkedIn profile. So if you're new to LinkedIn, awesome. If not, let's go back in time a little bit and take a look at your profile. The first thing I want you guys to do is fill out your entire profile entirely. Don't forget to complete this step. You have a lot of steps to do on this, but you do not have to do it all in one day. But it is something you need to finish in order to be complete in LinkedIn's eyes. Add a profile pic, but please, no selfies. If you don't have a nice headshot, it's time to get one. You don't have to do it all fancy and stuff. You can just go against a blank wall and use your phone and set it up, timer mode, and do a nice picture of yourself. And again, please, no selfies. They're frowned upon in the LinkedIn world. Add in some links. You want to lead people to your website. If you don't have a website, you should at least have a portfolio. If you're just starting out, you may not even have that, but write this down because you should start going this way if you're starting your own health writing business. So you want to lead people, aka clients, prospects, to your website, whatever that might be. And as much as possible. So adding your link here will do that. You can also add in your email address. You can also add in, whatever product you have, whatever that might be. Keywords. It's the key to standing out. Think about what words customers use to find your business. This could be tough because you have to put yourself in the eyes of your client and not in the eyes of yourself. It's easy to think that you're a health writer, you're a nurse writer, but if you're looking for what your client might look for, you might have to change it up a little bit depending on what your specialty is. You could also just look up, my specialty's OB. I would look up obstetrics, obstetric writing, obstetric medical writing. And if you're local to a major city, you can include that. Cleveland is my major city, and we have a lot of big hospitals here. Cleveland Clinic, I know. And that helps. Next is becoming known. Becoming known in your industry is what's going to really elevate you on this platform. and it's not going to happen overnight. So I suggest you take these things that I'm about to show you and put it into your calendar to do it about 10 minutes a day, because again, if you do it once, you're never going to get known. Even if you just do it once a week, you're not going to get known. The market is saturated with people, and there's a lot of fish in the sea. So to become known on the World Wide Web can be difficult. So how can we get known? Ask some questions. Don't be afraid to ask anything. If you don't have a huge network of people, your questions probably aren't going to get answered. But if you do these other things following asking questions, find the people is how you're going to get questions answered. So this is also helpful. Like if you're part of the Savvy Scribe Collective over on Facebook, ask questions in there. People are connected with you, or they should be, over on LinkedIn. So if you guys are connected in the collective, you'll be connected on LinkedIn, and you can start posting questions over there as well to start elevating yourself. Respond to questions. You're probably smarter than you think you are. So if you search for your industry on LinkedIn, you could probably start answering some questions in an intelligent way, and people can start to know you as an expert in your industry. Follow some hashtags. This is a newer, not brand new, but a newer feature that LinkedIn does, where you can actually follow hashtags and engage in those conversations. So if you do a hashtag nurse, you can look at all the recent stuff that has had that hashtag and start commenting on there and start, making conversation. So you get to know people in your industry as well. And it's not just to sell yourself. Really start think about the conversations. I always like that analogy people use that say, like, you don't want to marry someone you meet on the first date. You have to have a conversation. You have to get people to know, like, and trust you. Then they may hire you. Other ways to engage: share things, video, and join groups. Use the publisher. If you've never written an article on LinkedIn, I want you to start. Whatever your industry is, if you don't have a blog, that's fine. You can blog over on LinkedIn, which is so cool because you can share it to all these people on LinkedIn, and you don't have to just share it to your website that maybe nobody's coming to. So if you have followers on LinkedIn, you can use the publisher to really start making content and making it useful to people. Let me go back for 1 second. You can also, if you have a blog, take one of your blog posts, put about, half of it in there, and then say, if you want more, click here. That will actually take them to your website. Video, you guys, it's the #1 way people consume content these days. Use video to engage with your audience. And using video on LinkedIn is different than video on Facebook, on YouTube, and even on Instagram. Using video on LinkedIn, you really want to keep your videos less than 1 minute, and the way they're shown is just through the timeline. So a very simple call to action video will really go far if you're doing it in the right way. So groups on LinkedIn are different than groups on Facebook. Groups on Facebook are definitely more robust. They're definitely more active. And therefore, joining groups on LinkedIn really are there just to help you meet people and not so much gain a ton of knowledge from, if that makes sense. But if you join a group of, say, nurse writers, you can start connecting with those people and just start making your circle a little bigger and a little bigger. And that's it about LinkedIn, you guys. Did you find it helpful? I promise if you hung on to the end of this webinar, I have a surprise. So here we go. My first course, Plan, Create, Launch, Land, and Grow Your Health Writing Business. If you are a highly motivated, aspiring health writer trying to land your first gig or your next one, you are a candidate for this course. I want people that are making under $1,000 a month profit, because it's going to take you higher than that. And if you're ready to distinguish what's working in your business and what to let go of, if you like the idea of short, mini, action-filled modules, if you do have time to set aside time for training and homework, definitely got to be strong and ambitious, but open to a challenge, and definitely the imperfect business owner. These are some testimonials from our Growth Lab over the summer that I was telling you about in the beginning of this training. And why me, right? Why do you want me to help you do this? Because I get it. I've been here since 2015, doing my own writing business, being a researcher. I was motivated to just be home with my kids, and I had to find something I loved. Writing was it. And now I've been able to grow my business to a level that I can help you do the same thing. I've worked with hundreds of freelancers since 2017, and I'm happy to say that they're saying hello to their new and last PRN job. Some of them have gone full-time with it. I personally still do not do this full-time. People say, Jenny, why don't you do this full-time? I could, but I choose not to because I still like my bedside work, but I am not getting burnt out at the bedside. These are the modules inside the course, and the way it works is module 1 is plan, and you choose like which one you want to listen to, or just go right in order. So if you choose what is a niche and why niche down, you click on that and it gives you an actual video just like this with the slideshow. And then at the end gives you like actionable things to do and whatnot. You also get some downloadables for each lesson, and then you get all the PowerPoints in the end. So it's plan, create, right? Just like the name of the course. Launch, land, and grow. And again, these are all like shorter modules, and then you can just go back at any time. You get a lifetime subscription to the course, and I'll talk about what that really means. But inside the Growth Lab, you're still going to get the exact template I use to pitch clients, the pitch tracker, handouts and checklists to make sure you're going through each lesson, PowerPoint slides, and all the resources I talk about in each slide on one handout. So it's just easy to reference. So how much does it cost, right? Well, first I want to talk about this course is made to help you. If you Googled one time, nurse side job, nurse writing job, this is the roadmap, the A to Z resource to help you start, launch, and grow your health writing business. So you don't have to Google anymore. I already did it all, trust me. And I really just, that's really all I'm here for, guys, is just to help you start and grow. It costs $297. I know that, I don't know if you're looking at that going, holy cow, that's a lot. But if you have looked for other courses, they're easily $997 or $1,097. But truly, this is very cheap if you're looking in the course world for a course like this. But guess what? If you join this webinar, all you have to do is email me. That's my email address right there. And I'll give you $50 off if you purchase it by March 21st. That gives you over a month. This is kind of what it looks like. So, like I said, you get to click on the module, you get the downloadable, the PowerPoint slides, and then the videos. And see, they're short, real short videos, but powerful. And then, like you see in the middle here, this is how it looks, just like this webinar. So the course is live now. It says, when is the next course? It's live now. You can ask me questions anytime. You can, and it is launched, but you can still look at other resources on my blog, writern.net. Follow me on LinkedIn. I always share stuff there. On the podcast, for sure. You're going to learn a lot. And if you're not in the Savvy Scribe Collective, come on over there. The lifetime access is what I mean by that. You're always going to have your login. You're always going to have access to the course. It never expires. Also, people are asking me, hey, like for example, hey Janine, what do I got to put on my website for my writing website? Well, that's not covered in the course because I honestly don't think you always need a website, but it's something that people ask me all the time. So guess what? I'm going to make an additional module and then throw that in the course. But guess what? If you buy the course, you don't have to pay extra for that. Every time I do update the course, I'm going to increase the price. So if you get in now, you're in. And do I guarantee you'll land a paying gig? I don't offer guarantees because I feel like it's a go at your own pace course, so you might just quit. I don't think you would if you're really motivated, but I can't guarantee you're going to land a gig if you don't do the work behind it. So what I recommend is that you listen to the modules like once or twice, spend time with the handouts, the action items, press pause during those like hospital busy weeks. You got JCO coming, I don't know. And you can also take them on the road. Replay it when you need to. Go take a walk and listen to a module as you go. And that is it for you guys for this presentation today. As I always say at the end of my trainings, podcasts, all the things, go get your write on. If you haven't listened to the latest episode of the Savvy Scribe, come on over there. If you're not subscribed on iTunes or your favorite podcast app, please do. And if you're not connected with me on Instagram, I just got an Instagram account for the podcast. So at Savvy Scribes is the podcast link there for Instagram. And I'm going to throw those in the chat right now. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them. And any additional questions, just send them over to my email, hello@thesavvyscribepodcast.com. Thanks for joining me today, you guys, and I will see you over in the collective. Take care.